Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Wired for Wonder. My name is Lori Kirkland. I'm with DeepHumanX, and we are here today to answer the big question with all the change that AI is accelerating in the workplace. How can we make changes to better serve humanity in the workplace? And I'm excited today to have Cubukcu. Did I say that right?
Yeah, Chubukchu it is.
Okay, join us. She is very experienced in cultural and digital transformation. And more importantly, she is focused on really helping drive purpose driven leaders. So, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, if just to give the audience a little bit of kind of background knowledge of you, tell us a little bit about kind of how you got to where you are.
Well, it took a little while, around 20 plus years. I always worked in competence development in training. So, organizational development, organizational design has been my core competence. But while doing that, I've also taken up leadership positions and also been part of different digital transformation programs where uh, my nerdy side actually went like, ooh, there's really interesting things happening, and we can actually improve how we learn about technology, how we do things differently with technology by our side. And here I am after 20 plus years of banking and retail experience internationally. Now I have my own business working with leadership teams about leadership skills and looking at it from a digital perspective. What do we do with all these brilliant tools at our service? How do we improve on our competencies, and how do we make things work better for us?
So, as you were talking and thinking about kind of your experience and all the changes, one of the words you said was organizational design.
Hmm.
And with kind of the change that AI is bringing, right? We as leaders and as people in corporations have this opportunity to actually look at, is the design of our organizations, right? Is it really set up for the future, or is it a model of the past? When I say that to
Exactly.
you, what comes to mind?
It's absolutely a perfect time for it. In the past, there were a few attempts with looking at it in a network working place, collaborative working styles, but none of them really did it. There are a few corporations who really took it in, but it didn't catch on fire in a way. But now with AI, with technology, it's a brilliant time for really looking at, okay, what do we want from our business? How do we see our business future? And how do we design for it together with the people and technology? And it's the perfect place to be.
Well, I love that, and I love that you mentioned design
Yeah.
because so having been in tech for the last 20 plus years as well, I really value design. Like the
Yeah.
people who have the eye and can look at and think about the flow of people from department to department
Mm.
when you're building tech products is like it's an incredible gift. But where we're kind of at now is we don't actually know the future of work, right? With AI,
Mm.
there's going to be so many changes. So what advice would you give to leaders right now, thinking about designing their organization of the future? What advice would you give to people to be considering when you're thinking about, right, changes to make to your org?
We we all get excited about the new things, with new gadgets, new technology, OpenAI and Perplexity and this and that. We all play with it and we get excited. And that's absolutely fantastic and it's very normal. However, making immediate decisions based on the three, five things that we explored may not be what the organization needs for its future. So, not to rush into big decisions about recruitment, about hiring, firing people, about just buying stuff and trying to do something good. It's really going back to the basics and asking ourselves, what do we want? What is the purpose? And then go from there.
Yeah, like Simon Sinek's
Yep.
why, right? Like what are you doing?
What do
Have
we
you
want
looked
to
at your
achieve? Yeah.
what?
What do we want to achieve?
what do we want to achieve and what do we value? I mean, that's a lot of where I think there's this open opportunity for organizations to design, to think way more than a marketing message of here's what our mission is, right? For leaders to really get rooted in, right? Who do we want to be as a corporation? Because if all of a sudden our lists of 2,000 things that need to get done can get done in 50% of the time, do you want to just get rid of people, or do you want to take that time and do something cool,
Yeah,
right? And you
yeah,
would have to have a pretty good anchor or idea of what your purpose is, what the org is in order to get there.
exactly, exactly. I mean, that's the beauty of technology. It's a fantastic tool to support us, to save time from really boring stuff, things that we don't like to do, maybe, and give that time back to us to do creative things, to talk to people, to engage with people, to engage with our customers in a different way, to really find our purpose, but become the spokespeople of what the company, what the product, what our culture stands for. And that is right now being missed.
Yes. It's like if we look at, if we go way back in the world to like 19, late 90s, let's say 95 to 2000, right? There was really only one customer touch point. So your
Yeah,
employees were really important, your customer relationships were really important. And then, right, with the advent of the internet, it's been awesome, right? We can really
yes,
move technology and business and humanity forward. But at the same time, we did this like physical shift to where now everything is about going to your screen. And when you were talking, it made me think about all
mm,
those mundane tasks that people sit to put the right information into the right system, which looks great. It makes you kind of feel as a, especially if you're one of the leadership team getting the reports, it makes you feel like you're have this controlled
yeah,
behavior. But the truth is right, with people, right, things are always changing. And it's almost like now we have this opportunity to go back to say, hey, we actually have tools now that can do all that boring
mm,
stuff that none of us like doing, right? Like, who likes putting in expense reports or the same piece of
I
data into
do
four systems
exactly,
because it's the process, right?
exactly.
And we've changed our thinking, but it does kind of give us this opportunity to go back to that human to human and get more creative and become, create things that really do support employees and customers rather than just, technology for the sake of technology.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, even when we think about a bigger process like business planning, the technology now, the information systems, can shorten the time of preparation for us. It doesn't mean that we won't do business planning anymore, but we will do it in a different way. We will bring our competences in a different way to the table. So all the research, all the insight generations, all the reports that we need to prepare before we come to the business planning conversations, they can be created and done in a very, very short time compared to what it used to take. But that doesn't mean that we can just say, oh, whatever LLM, Gen AI, just do me a business plan. We can also do that, but we have the experience. We know what our customers want. We feel what our customers want. Now, knowing and feeling are also two different things, and they complement each other. Then, when we come to the table, we can discuss what is generated for us on a totally different level, on a deeper level than maybe what we used to, because we have more time for it.
We
And
have
that
more
will give us
tools. I mean,
totally different starting point for the business planning. But it doesn't mean that we don't do business planning anymore. No, we
well,
do
and
it
when you say
on a
totally different
different way.
starting point, are you thinking like a way deeper?
Yeah,
Like a way, yeah, like you can move forward way faster because you're getting rid of some of the tedious tasks.
exactly. You know, sometimes we go into circles and go like, oh, we discussed this 2 years ago. Maybe
Yeah.
we can avoid those because they already come to us prepared. Like, these are the discussions and these are the decisions that have been done. Don't go there. Or maybe this is the time to do that because the insight generation is a different
Right.
quality right now. But having look at that quality of information and using your own experience and your wishes and wants and feelings, I think feelings are quite important. Then that's where the magic will happen.
Feelings in the workplace, huh? Tell me about that.
We don't like empathy or emotional intelligence or stuff like that, do we?
I don't understand it. I mean, it's like we're this beautiful civilization that has all these years of evolution, and somehow we've gotten to the place, at least this is what it feels like to me, where like we really value logic and analysis, which is, I mean, come on, humans are a smart
Absolutely.
species. It's great. But like we literally you know, I had a friend recently who was like, "Oh no, there's no place for emotions in the workplace." And I come from like a neuroscience experience where I understand that like your feelings aren't intelligence, right?
Yeah.
There's cognitive intelligence, and then you have this whole network, and your emotions are nothing more than your flags for your, you know, your own self, your own survival and thriving to say, "Yes, I'm moving go forward. It's a good feeling or it's a bad feeling."
Yeah.
And of course they're they can get very complex, but right, feelings aren't anything to be afraid of.
No,
what
not at all. No,
what do
no,
you see in the workplace as far as like areas where you think if people had leaned into, you know, allowing more feelings, there could have been a different outcome?
I mean, I think when we talk about feelings, we tend to think very wishy-washy, mushy, all kumbaya stuff. But when I talk about feelings, it's really understanding yourself, understanding what's happening around you, and where other people are on a different level than just logic, through logic. Yes, cognitive capabilities are quite important, but there is this thing that we call the hunch. That's feeling, that's an emotion, but it triggers cognitive capabilities, but it also feeds from cognitive capabilities. So they are together. You can't separate them. I don't
Right.
see a separation between them, you know? So it's just saying that there is a space for looking at the world with softer eyes, trusting your intuition, trusting your gut feeling, but still keeping your frames of logic, of course. I mean, that's something else. But that complements the whole narrative.
Does that mean we get rid of the logic side, or we have to like I'm just kind of thinking of, yeah, balance, I guess. Is that what you're saying? Like
Exactly.
balance, right? Like we are literally ingrained evolutionary in us as a survival species. So we're always, no matter if we are aware of it or not, we're always looking to make sure that we move forward and logical and in like really making sure that we're surviving.
Yeah.
You know, surviving any situation and moving forward in the best way possible.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we have this whole side of us that is really, it's even way older than the human brain, right? Where it's like, you know, 200 to 300 million years old,
Yeah.
that is evolutionarily most adapt to reading emotions and energy, right? Like
Yeah.
reading the exchange of energy between you and I. What kind of advice would you give to leaders who may feel like the soft stuff is too squishy for them?
It doesn't need to be squishy. I think we should all relax a little bit.
Have a
If
little
we want
fun.
pure logic, we would have robots for it. We have technology for it. Pure logic, no emotions. But that doesn't rule the world. It doesn't run the world. It's us, it's human beings. So we have to accept that we have both and we have to work with both. It's the balance. Of course, business world demands more organizational skills, more maybe frameworks and logical thinking and processes. However, where there are humans, there will always be emotions. And how do we um, connect with those emotions in a logical, in a sensible way? Because that's also about relating to each other. It creates relationships.
Yeah. And you know, as you were talking, it's funny because it has me thinking about how emotions really do already show up in the workplace, but the ones that are allowed or are acceptable are things like stressed out, overcapacity, right?
Yeah.
Working through the pain, like just keep going. Those emotions, those are all emotions, and those are already like allowed in the workplace. But it's something about, like you said, almost the happy or the lightness, like,
Yeah.
hey, right, this isn't everything isn't a life or death situation. We can relax and have a little fun at work because we do
Exactly.
amazing things as humans.
Yeah. So if you're stressed out, it is understandable. If you're crying, it is not really. Then you become soft. But that's an outcome of a feeling.
Yeah.
But if you're relaxed and enjoying what you're doing, that's also looked at and go like, what's happening here? So we also tend, or the organizational setup tend to nurture bad feelings and
Yes.
accept bad feelings compared to good ones or
Almost as a
positive
badge of
ones.
honor sometimes, right?
Mm.
Like almost like I wear that badge of I can suffer the most. It's kind of funny, but I feel like I see that in organizations that I work with where there are some people who are like, I have been doing this for this long, and they wear that suffering
Yeah,
almost as a badge of pride when it's like, well, why is that acceptable? But just enjoying your day isn't.
exactly. Having a smile, chatting, and doing still your job, but in a very light-humored way. Why
Right.
not?
Well, so when we talk about DeepHumanX, so at my
Mm.
company, we help build AI, practical AI ready cultures. But one of the things that the reason we named it DeepHumanX is because each one of us has our own X factor, right? The thing that is individual to us, that is our driving force, that really kind of helps propel us through all of the things in our life, both
Mm.
work and not work. If I were to ask you, what is what's your X factor?
Oh, my ex. I have a few, but I think get stuff done is one thing. So I was known for it for all my career. If you need some information, if you need to know something, if you want something to be done quickly, I would be your person. So, but that also drives me. That's what I was known for. Uh, it is also kindness, kindness, but with transparency and straightforwardness.
And with that, like kindness and that getting stuff done, where do you see in your life kind of where's your drive or your purpose? Like where is it that what's really propelling you to keep going?
There's so much to be done. There's so much to be done.
It's so fun, right? Like so many people
Just
are like, what is
starting.
this?
I mean, there's so much to be done doesn't mean it's all bad. Actually, there's so many good things that can be strengthened and become uh, great examples for others to get inspiration from. And I love those experiences, and I love creating those instances where people go like, "Oh yes, yes, yes! Now it's going to be stronger. It's going to be better," and
Hmm.
that is what drives me and gives me a lot of happiness.
So like the aha moments that you
Yeah,
might bring to clients or when somebody has like a realization that like shifts their whole
yeah,
perspective, is that the kind of thing you're talking about? That
yes,
like
exactly.
juicy, delicious humanness that is, yes, it has logic to it, but it's like, oh my gosh, we just solved a big problem.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
Through
And
logic
so,
and intuition together.
well, so if we're for the audience out here listening, if
Hmm.
you were to just share with them kind of what are some of the top struggles that you're seeing with the AI transformation? What are some things that you're seeing that are really common problems so people can understand that it's not just you
Hmm.
who might be going through that?
Well, I've been facilitating a conversation between a chief human resources officer and a chief technology officer because they didn't see eye to eye. Uh, they attended one of my webinars, and then suddenly they said, "Oh, hang on a minute, maybe we should have a different type of conversation." But it didn't go well on their own, so they called me in. Uh, And that's where I observed the same thing. Because it's digital, organizations and leadership teams think that it is the responsibility of the tech department, whatever you call it, tech, digital, whatever. It is not. AI is a different type of beast. It affects everything. So we can't treat AI transformation as we treated digital transformation. It's not a plug and play solution. It's not only about the tech.
It's not.
Uh-uh.
No. How do we get people to understand that it's a mindset shift? Like it's not, it is no longer you're adding AI to your tech stack over here, give it to
Yeah,
your tech team. It's like actually a way of thinking
it
that
is.
every member of the organization should use.
Exactly.
But
So
you're saying that in that conversation,
it
that was
didn't.
still, there was still, was it the people still wanted to own it, or the HR people didn't want to do it, or what was the kind of conflict that you saw?
Uh, it was tech would say, "Oh, we're going to implement this," and HR would say, "These are the solutions we want." But then we will have to work with our headcount, and all got mixed up in the conversation. So HR didn't really want to get rid of the headcount, but what is coming sort of created the perception in the leadership team that it could, and HR didn't know how to deal with it because they were also asking for AI solutions. So they created their own problems in a way. And tech, of course, tech digital, they don't challenge those kind of things. They say, like, "Oh, okay, this is what's going to happen. This is the efficiency reports, and this is the productivity, and this is what the consequences will be." But the minute they started looking at the problem that they want to solve, then it becomes a different conversation, because the starting point is not, "Ooh, I like this AI solution, let's have it." No, it's about, "This is the problem I want to solve. I don't know how to do it. Can we have a look at it?" And the minute you bring in different departments to the conversation with their own perspectives, then you see the full picture. And that's what is necessary in AI.
You really just highlighted such a key part of this AI transformation. Right, the question for leaders used to be, what do we want to build? But really, where the lens needs to flip is into, right, what problems do we want to solve, and get
Exactly.
really clear as a leadership team, or at, any project you're doing, get really clear on the problem
Yeah.
that you're trying to solve, and see if AI has a
A
potential way,
role to play.
right? A role to play, but it's not AI first. It's like AI is literally a tool set that can help with anything,
Exactly.
but it can also give you a lot of garbage if what you're trying to solve is not an actual problem, right? It'll just keep spinning and help you continue on spinning. So I really wanted to call that out because I love that distinction
Yeah.
you just made
Yeah.
about start with a core problem and then move forward from
Yeah.
there.
And some people may not like this, and it's okay. But the big consultancy companies are pushing this AI first thing. They pushed digital first, they pushed omnichannel first, they create this stress and urgency, which is understandable because that's how they make their money.
Mm-hmm.
However, AI first will never work,
No.
because for AI to work, you need your data to be clean. Otherwise, it's bad things in, bad things out.
Yeah.
You need to look into your business opportunities. You need to understand where you want to take your company towards, what your customers are. So there is no first. AI first. AI can't come first. A lot of other things need to come first for AI to function and provide you the right things. And again, are there any problems that we want to solve? What are the problems that we want to solve? Or what are the ambitions we have for our company? What are the ambitions
Yeah.
we have for our people? What are the ambitions we have for our profitability? Then, where AI takes center stage or sidekick, it doesn't matter. But there's a place for it, and sometimes there may not be. And it's also okay.
And I think you're pointing out something that is also a mindset shift for leaders, which is having a clear a clearer destination that is, I don't want to say profound, but is more purposeful. So
Yes.
that as changes happen, right, any leader is leading their team right towards something bigger and greater
Yeah.
versus just task oriented, right?
True.
Like that's a big shift in the marketplaces is we're so used to having, here's my list of 10 things to do and I'm just responsible for doing those. Like we have robots to do that. So if you need to get a list, right? Like if you need to give your employees lists of things, that's where there's going to be trouble down the line. But if you really do start looking at bigger, like at the bigger picture, and I agree with you, it's not AI first. It's
No.
really human centered. It's what are
Yes.
we trying to do here? What are we trying to do for humanity, for the company? And by the way, can we just say the table stakes are everybody wants to make money, more efficiency and productivity. So those are not drivers. That is like in our society today, in our workplace society. Um, but if I were to say that, what would you think? This is kind of the last question I have for you is what
Okay.
do you think as we look towards the future of work? What do you think are 3 human skills that you would give as advice for leaders to be thinking about, working on, upskilling themselves?
Uh, Definitely emotional intelligence. That's one. The other one is critical thinking.
Mm.
The reason is not only for work, it is for our lives. I mean, with everything that we are seeing, we have a schooling background that gives us what is correct, what is not correct, what can be evolving, etc. So we have that notion of judgment. But the kids, what they see, they take for granted that it is correct, it's true. So we need to have critical thinking skills so that we can pass that on to the next generations. That's extra important. So that's the second one. And the third one, I would say, everyone says digital and this and that. I think it's communication skills,
Mm,
the way
I
we
love that.
communicate, because human communication is changing. There are people who dread opening their answering their phones because they can't speak. They feel very uncomfortable. So it's messaging. So it means the way we express ourselves is changing, and that's a part of communication skills that needs to evolve. The other one is how we communicate with Gen AI,
Mm.
because that's also a way of communicating. And if we want to get better results and better responses, then how we communicate needs to be also more refined and to the point. So I would say communication skills.
I love those. All of those are right. Great skills to be working on, especially as we are entering right a time of change.
Yeah.
Nobody knows where we're going. If they tell you they know the answer, they're full of it.
Yeah.
But we are on this wonderful journey, and we have right where I'm very thankful for leaders like you and other people who are like, hey, let's actually take this time that AI is bringing a change. You're going to have to
Mm.
rethink a lot of your stuff anyways with AI. Why not try to make it better serve humanity?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, good. Well, Binnaz, I wanted to say thank you for joining us today. It's such a pleasure to have you on the show.
Pleasure's
If
all
our
mine.
audience wanted to connect with you, where should we send them?
Well, LinkedIn is the easiest option. Binnaz Cubukcu, but without the tails. So Cubukcu. That's the one. Or you can visit my website www.piperrussell.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having a conversation today. And thank you,
Thank you
everyone, for
for having me,
listening.
Lori.
Thanks.